Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Should I keep going? Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Or for Justin Bieber alone.
Something else that the jurors saw today that sort of connects it back to this alleged criminal enterprise are 7 photos of people that were very close to Sean Combs, one even his former chief of staff. And these were all people that Cassie Ventura was able to name and explain the functions in terms of what they did: security, driver, chief of staff, someone that handled financials. So it's showing that she knew some of these people, again, because she was with him, around him for so long.
Jaguar Wright spoke out about a list of celebrities who, she says, left the United States after Cassie Ventura's testimony against Sean Diddy Combs became public. In her direct style, Wright shared details that have since spread across social media and entertainment news.
As the Diddy trial is opening up, people keep making this all about Diddy rather than looking at everything that's happening around it.
Rapper Tory Lanez, who's currently serving a decade in prison behind bars.
There's a lot of people that want to protect the Diddy agenda because it serves them, because allegedly they're all accomplices.
You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on That 70s Show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with her daughters.
According to Wright, when Cassie described years of mistreatment and alleged criminal misconduct by Combs, some well-known figures decided to leave the country, even if it was only for a short time. They did this because they were worried their names might get pulled into the trial.
The first time you heard me say that Sean Combs was an ex-trafficker, and you said I was a liar because I was jealous, because I wasn't his girlfriend, because I wasn't successful in the music industry, because I didn't have a hit record, because I didn't live in a mansion, because I didn't have diamonds. You said all of these things about me because I told the truth.
That's
You
real.
disgraced my name, my legacy, my family. You stalked, you hunted me. You harassed my friends. You put pressure on my personal relationships to the point where I had to completely disassociate myself from the whole life just so I could carry the burden of the truth.
Wright opened by praising Cassie's bravery. She explained how, from May 13th to May 16th, Ventura gave detailed testimony about years of intimate acts controlled by Combs, physical violence, and coercion. As the trial moved forward, it drew a lot of attention not just because of the serious charges, trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution, but also because many famous names came up during jury selection and in witness accounts. Wright said that some of these celebrities, afraid of media attention or damage to their reputations, left the country soon after Cassie's story reached headlines.
I was thinking to myself the other day, Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim was the longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim's dead. Heavy D is dead.
That's big.
Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Heavy D was found dead, face down in the heart attack. Andre Harrell, heart attack. Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died it was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And then right after that, Al had a meeting, and I was going to meet up with him because we were in Vegas. And then the next thing you know, you want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Mm-hmm. Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone.
The first star Wright mentioned was Jay-Z, the successful rapper and businessman who has worked with Combs before. Wright claimed that Jay-Z quietly booked a private flight to Europe just days after Cassie's testimony hit the press. She said that Jay-Z felt uneasy when she mentioned he had been at one of Combs' FOs with other industry people. Even though Jay-Z did not face any charges, Wright said he was worried investigators or reporters might ask him questions. The speed at which he left, she argued, showed that other celebrities were ready to follow suit.
What did you know back then, 4 years ago?
Gonna come forward.
So what did you? How did you know? What did you know about what Cat? Because
to hear that, explain.
Yeah,
but if I explain how I knew Cassie was gonna come forward, that could hurt some people. I don't spend time around Cassie, and I haven't seen Cassie in person since she was with Ryan Leslie.
Was there something in her eyes that you saw? The way, like now
I'll put it to you this way: there are mutual acquaintances between her and I, and that's as far as I can go.
Next, Wright spoke about Pharrell Williams, a famous producer and artist who has also teamed up with Combs in the past. According to Wright, Pharrell followed Jay-Z's example and flew to Milan for a fashion event right after Cassie's statements went public. Although Pharrell said that he had planned the trip long ago, Wright believed the timing was too close to Cassie's testimony. Jaguar Wright spoke out about a list of celebrities who, she says, left the United States after Cassie Ventura's testimony, Sean Diddy Combs, became public. In her direct style, Wright shared details that have since spread across social media.
I can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on in the background. Y'all don't see the lineup?
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one. I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane. Move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah. amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened.
Entertainment news. According to Wright, when Cassie described years of mistreatment and alleged criminal misconduct by Combs, some well-known figures decided to leave the country, even if it was only for a short time. They did this because they were worried their names might get pulled into the trial. Wright opened by praising Cassie's bravery. She explained how, from May 13th to May 16th, Ventura gave detailed testimony about years of intimate acts controlled by Combs, physical violence, and coercion. As the trial moved forward,
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim, she was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting? You want to know what they all had in common, though? They were all writing tell-all books. And I'll Be Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? It's too many coincidences. Fuck you, Honeycomb. We gonna get you and your little dog, too. Run as fast as Cassie did.
of attention not just because of the serious charges, trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution, but also because many famous names came up during jury selection and in witness accounts. Wright said that some of these celebrities, afraid of media attention or damage their reputations, left the country soon after Cassie reached headlines. The first star Wright mentioned was Jay-Z, the successful rapper and businessman who was with Combs before. Wright claimed that Jay-Z quietly booked a private flight to Europe just days after Cassie's testimony hit the press.
Like I said last year, after the Cassie Diddy case was made public for the world to see on CNN.
If Kim Porter hadn't done what she done, there would be no Cassie to testify.
You know, Mr. Combs, SC and SC, Thing 1 and Thing 2. They've been covering each other's ass a long time, guys. Y'all don't see what's going on? The death of Angie Stone. Clive Davis, Diddy. Rock Nation on the verge of utter collapse. What happened to Tory? Find a way to blame it on him.
She said that Jay-Z felt uneasy when she mentioned he had been at one of Combs' FOs with other industry people. Even though he did not face any charges, Wright said he was worried investigators or reporters might ask him questions. The speed at which he left, she argued, showed that other celebrities were ready to follow suit. Next, Wright spoke about Pharrell Williams, a famous producer and artist who has also teamed up with him in the past. According to Wright, Pharrell followed Jay-Z's example and flew to Milan for a fashion event right after statements went public. Although Pharrell said that he had planned the trip long.
Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades.
Wright believed the timing was too close to Cassie's testimony to be mere coincidence. Wright argued that Pharrell, like Jay-Z, felt nervous about his connection to Combs and Ventura. In her view, Pharrell's quick exit was another sign that celebrities were quietly putting distance between themselves and the trial. Wright then talked about Scooter Braun, a music executive known for managing big R&B and pop stars. She claimed that within a day of the media releasing Cassie's testimony, Scooter moved his family to Canada. Although Scooter said he left for family reasons, Wright insisted that close to him were whispering about his fear of being called to testify or having to share
You fucking right, I go to Diddy parties, which is where people like me step in. To walk mother out! Cause ain't nobody stopping me when I come. Why would they talk about it? Who is there to go to? Who's gonna help them? What HR department do you know of that works for any of these labels?
Yeah.
When have you ever heard of a sexual harassment suit being publicly acknowledged in the entertainment industry at all? Never. Not in entertainment.
Tupac. Remember that one? That was.
He was the only one.
Yeah.
He saw how that turned out.
Yeah. That was.
Yeah, no, guilty.
That's why they do it. To make you an example. To remind you what they're willing to do to keep things the way they want them. It's intimidation. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for. You could try to get a special prosecutor, but they'll just pay somebody to reassign him to another case.
of Combs' private events. To back up her point, Wright showed what she said were flight records proving Scooter's late-night trip to Toronto, with first-class tickets bought 2 days earlier. Jaguar Wright also focused on Kim Kardashian, the reality TV star and entrepreneur. Wright said that when Cassie mentioned Kim in her testimony, saying Combs got jealous when Ventura went to a TV taping where Kim was, Kim left immediately for a 2-week work trip in South Africa. She went to spread her beauty brand overseas. But Wright argued people on Kim's team actually believed she was avoiding press scrutiny in Los Angeles.
It's been alleged that some of our favorite celebrities like Doja Cat, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, 2 Chainz are all caught up or have been caught on camera allegedly under the influence. And that a few celebrities have died. They're saying that Brittany Murphy died from...
It's been more than a few.
Before we get there, do you feel like Diddy's defense is going to have a strong opening statement? Just
No.
in regards to...
They couldn't even get a postponement. If they were begging for a 2-month postponement, and then when they said no, they said, well, 2 weeks. It's because they don't have a strong opening statement. They have no statement at all.
By the time Cassie's full testimony was in court records, Wright noted Kim was already far from US media attention. Moving beyond the entertainment side, Wright spoke about Sean Holley, a lawyer known for representing celebrities in high-profile cases. Wright said that Holley quietly moved herself and her family out of the country just days after Cassie's testimony. Although Holley said she left for tax and estate planning reasons, Wright said that because Holley had ties to Combs' legal team, she felt nervous about being too close to a case that was getting so much attention. Even though there was proof she was ever subpoenaed or directly involved, Wright used Holley's move as part of a larger pattern. People with high profiles distancing themselves when scandal.
You want to know what's going to happen next? No more filter. From this point forward, any word that I say, I ain't holding back. And I ain't saying alleged either. Y'all said I was lying the first time. Now it turns out I'm telling the truth. You still don't want to admit that I was right, but you don't want to admit that you was wrong. I'm going to just keep ruining your lives with the truth.
And here we go.
Shout out to Cat Williams.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lunell Campbell.
Let's go.
Shout out to Kanye Ye West. Shout out to my very good friend, Fred Hampton Jr., the chairman of the board for the Black Panther Party. Free them all. Power to the people.
Another big name Wright claimed fled was Rihanna, the hit-making singer and songwriter who had been at events with Combs. Wright said that Cassie's story, particularly the night when Combs allegedly embarrassed Ventura after she had met Rihanna at an after-party, was too much for Rihanna to handle in Los Angeles. Wright explained that Rihanna checked into a luxury villa in Ibiza and a short statement about celebrating new music. Yet, within a week, Wright said Rihanna was seen at a cafe in Barcelona, enjoying European life without worrying about paparazzi or headlines. Wright's point was that even
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. Want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing.
So are you trying to say like Jay-Z put hands on you?
I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. It's gonna be the women that give him in the end.
Amy, loosely linked to Combs, felt safer laying low abroad. In her usual no-nonsense way, Wright then criticized mainstream media outlets. She argued they were too quick to call these trips vacations or work obligations, digging deeper. Wright urged viewers to pay attention to boarding passes, social media posts, and quick Instagram stories as proof of a coordinated effort to avoid bad press. They leave first and create their stories later, she said, pointing to these celebrities she believed were part of a larger exodus.
None of this makes sense. What really does make sense is that Diddy has had a long career of using to trap niggas into making them do what he wants to do or using them to move them out the way. How is Faith Evans any different than Lauren London? How? No difference at all.
The Jaguar Wright show. Here we
Okay,
are.
oh, you got this your security too? Oh wow, Jaguar came with security too.
Nice to meet you. You know, this first and foremost, I mean, this is, you know, the day of this fire. Everything is like, you know, what are you feeling, what are you experiencing right now? How important is it for you to be here?
Paramount. There needs to be someone here who's been here all along. I've been waiting for this moment for 5 years, and here we are. And I'm praying that everyone remembers there are survivors, real life survivors. And I hope that everyone takes into account how necessary a true verdict, a just verdict now.
According to Wright, the real story was not guilt, but fear. Many wanted to avoid being dragged headlines, even if they did nothing wrong. One of Wright's most intense moments was naming Chad Ochocinco Johnson, the former NFL player who tried his hand acting. Wright said Johnson was mentioned in Cassie's testimony as someone Combs had asked to pick her up from a film set in 2015. Even though Cassie's only comment was that Johnson had offered help when she called him, Wright told her audience that Johnson boarded a flight to Dubai right after the testimony was public.